Welcome to Waffleton, a place where 4 races have been brought together in the rift of the warp. Where the waystones always work, places are different, recipes have changed, all things are possible. This is a quick video of me setting things up for our Kiwi FoolCrafters. Setting up for a new build server. More waffle, less waffle. And a cute little place here called Waffleton. And this is me going through a couple of things that I did to set up this particular town. Using NPCs and just running around in creative. So the original idea for Waffleton is that as everyone has the ability to use the warp stones from their inventory, it was a really cool idea, so decided that there's this warp entrance place to this world at the bottom of this ravine. And that's where all the characters spawn into the bottom. It's one of the reasons why the races are still cooperating, because people of their faction, people of their race are still turning up, and they really don't want warfare happening here. They really want to protect their own people. So there's a bit of a truce happening around this warp rift where the players turn up, and so I've been trying to set up so it's a bit more rifty, deepen it a little bit, and start working on the places where the warpstone itself would be, and introducing other elements that would come into it. So starting to shape the final bottom, starting to shape up the stairs at the very end where the player will be directed, and then placing the actual warpstone itself, and also looking at other really cool stones that we might have at the bottom of the rift. Ultimately, kind of decided that might be something that the community wants to put together themselves, trying to figure out a nice theme for what the warp might actually look like. So I first thought put the waystone in the center, then kind of realized actually that's where we want the players to turn up, and then really want to get them to kind of turn around, start dealing with the NPCs, the guides, getting their first pieces of equipment. The waystone's going to be a global waystone, so they never have to particularly tap it anyway. But just starting to set things up so that they can move around and start looking at things. So the idea, what I'm doing here, comes from one of Graham's videos where he suggested taking time to plan the environment first. Now he went through and cleaned up his ravine first. I went to the second step of choosing the locations where I want the homes or the shops or the little locations to be. I did kind of consider some of the caves to see whether or not they might be suitable. Would a villager build in a cave, maybe? I kind of decided against that, so just kind of went with a couple of alcoves dotted across the side, trying to keep things a little bit even, trying to use some of the natural shapes and curves already kind of suggested by the terrain. After that, kind of going back to step one of cleaning up a little bit of the ravine, trying to take some of the symmetry out of it. Cleaning up the edge of the meteorite that's fallen near Waffleton as well. And looking for the place where the entrance to Waffleton comes through. And as Grian has suggested, it's a gentle slope that comes in through the earth before going through and organising where the paths might go for this. Obviously, it's not very easy to predict where those paths are going to be, so ultimately it comes down to just pop those blocks down, try to figure out what it's going to look like after you start popping blocks down. Again, a bit more cleanup of making things, taking some of these edges away. Trying to make things a little less even, trying to add some slope. Bringing some of these spawnable areas down, up, closing them up. Leaving some of the natural features that have come through, but not making them quite as obvious as previously thought. I think I ended up keeping this particular ledge across, just because it was quite a distinctive thing. Just making it a little bit less wide as it goes towards the mountains and into the darkness. And then starting to put down blocks to represent pathing, and then just throwing things down and working things out after getting the paths down. Because there's no real way of actually figuring it out until you actually see it. It's so much easier just to kind of spam a few things down, take a look at it from a couple of angles, seeing it from the angle of a player actually standing on the ledge and checking it out. I think I decided here that it really wasn't viable to bounce between the walls too often to get to the ground floor, so considered just kind of bringing it straight down. Because bringing it across where the ground already is anyway seemed pretty pointless, so it made more sense to actually have a little office at the bottom and then having a spiral staircase that comes through to meet it. And just kind of roughing it out just to remind myself what I was intending there. So I picked up a couple of palatable things. Again, Greg kind of suggested that you start with the entrance. This is kind of where the theme of it starts. This is where things really start getting started. I chose this particular spot because there's quite a nice natural lead in from the meteorite that's fallen near Waffleton. And they're just kind of bringing it up and around, back up to the plains, shaping it as much as I can now, and then starting to put down blocks to fill in the bits that I want, making the nice progressive incline up and around and out. One of the things I started considering here was actually getting some more of the greenery, how I was going to sort out that particular area. So mostly again just following the terrain, following what kind of made sense, and then refilling some of these parts of the cliff, as if time's passed. This meteorite fell quite some time ago. A lot of grass, debris, leaves and things have blown in, so anywhere that there's a corner, it's popping down grass to fill out any corners, fill out any spaces, any missing blocks, bridging that tunnel that's going into Waffleton itself, spamming it all down, seeing again just where those corners and bits and pieces are, filling in all the gaps, and letting the path then move around the terrain that possibly could have happened if this had been there for that long. Again, leaving the particulars of this fairly fast and loose. The players and I, as we go along, we can start working on the lore of the town. How would the paths be built after certain events happen, or if it was the Dwarven Guard or the Elven Guard that is protecting the place. So kind of left it about here. During the day when the players were actually online, ended up with suggesting one of the players actually start building a farm at the top there, and so it's started already where a farm is being built. So again, filling in all the little details, filling in the spaces where things would have been caught up just by normal winds blowing around. We've got quite a few players who quite enjoy the colour of Skystone. It's one of the reasons why we kind of kept it there, right there. It's quite visible from the dynamic map. Although I don't know if the players have necessarily realised that that is what that little bowl is at the moment. Although obviously if they watch this, they'll know. So most of this is just covering it up. There's a couple of broader patches of the terrain, especially down near the actual meteorite itself, where it's a lot broader. You wouldn't expect the wind to kind of just sweep straight across it and not necessarily be able to fill in the gaps in that time. One of the techniques I was watching someone do is just kind of spamming the keys just to get a little bit of randomness, just to fill things in, not being too precise about stuff. Going with a few encounter things. We've got a particular texture pack, is that the right word for it? Optifine and a texture pack, and pork, which gives us the green grass connected texture when it's grass on top of grass. So sometimes I am kind of popping some of the grass up just to give it a bit more extra underneath. Just because the green on green looks so good, but it does need a too deep set of blocks. And even just the very fine layer where it's mostly looks like dirt kind of lets you know that there is very little in the way of organic material in this area. Now, one thing I would love to see is someone taking the dwarves, mining this up, using it as part of a mining operation. I would love to set up a custom NPC to deal with a mining, smelting, forge type project. Dwarves obviously come to mind. Having either the foregoing or Ender.io as the kind of machinery, as their kind of workshop, or having a more vanilla style forge setup, a fireplace, some netherrack, some smoke as such coming out of a chimney. Or if someone comes up with a magical way where they're taking, say, Psi, which is coming up in one of the updates very soon, I think, and using that to smelt and transform materials that they've been collecting from this particular meteorite. Certainly every race has the opportunity and the tools and the technology and the magic. It comes down to the stories that the players want to weave. So just flying backwards and forwards, just checking to see any areas that I've missed. And then not quite going ground with bone meal, but again just kind of popping down a whole bunch of short grass, a whole bunch of long grass. Interestingly, that this particular grass comes down as a brown colour first tap, and turns up as I think it's the Animalia mod that we've added, that if you put grass or seeds down on stone, where it actually has that laying down on the ground effect, where an animal can walk up to it and then eat it from the ground and actually feed themselves like that. It's quite interesting. And again, the different colours of grass as you place them down, first starting as a brown and then becoming a much more lush green. We have cork, as I mentioned. Cork gives us a much greener colour. Makes everything so much better. It has made a couple of the biomes quite a bit different. One of the players prefers the kind of haunted Biomes of Plenty biome that's full of poison ivy and bits and pieces, and she's commented that rather than being quite dark and dreary, and even though Biomes of Plenty's finally been updated, that we can use the updated versions now, everything's a bit brighter, a bit cleaner, the water is brighter, and it's now become that haunted, phantasmical forest of wonders, rather than just a evil place. Cool, so working on bridging things up, again going from a sort of a pattern that Grian and I think it was Pearl were using, filling pieces up, using a little bit of spruce for structural reinforcement, using their story, and placing things down so that they can work through it. We can always change it up later if we need to. Popping in all the extra little blocks and bits and pieces to form that little bridge. And then starting work on actually popping all the blocks in. And not being super precise. So I used spruce for the main part and then oak for walkways, just to give it a bit of a differentiation of where that landing was and where people were walking, people were necessarily scuffing things up, or if they wanted to differentiate with this is my shop area, which is something you kind of see, especially like cafes in New Zealand. And again, just kind of popping up, down, backwards, forwards, looking from all sorts of different angles and checking out to see how good, how bad. I ended up using slabs a lot, even using them for full blocks, which was a bit silly. I fixed that up in a couple of different places, but as you know. And again, keeping things fairly fast and loose, looking for the shape, a little bit of awning, a little bit of structure, a little bit of somewhere where a door or a shopkeep can be. Fast and loose, just letting the blocks kind of naturally fall down, not being too worried about following the blocks and just kind of seeing how it comes down. Here I'm starting to curve it a little bit. Again, thinking of the below, I kind of had that inspiration of a spiral staircase and putting other kind of, rather than having very straight roads and paths, having a bit more of a curve, having a bit more of a movement. Realizing that I ended up kind of just having a right angle anyway, so just kind of taking out inside pieces, removing outside pieces, shuffling it to the other side, bringing it around, bringing it closer to this cave entrance here, which more often than not when you're at that cave, can hear things. So the path ended up being almost S-shaped, because having structural support from the two sides was something I was conscious of. I didn't have any particular rhyme or reason for particular buildings being for particular people at this stage. Most of these are just a facade, only sufficient space to hold a bed, maybe a crafting table. You see how I'm using slabs all over the time. Thankfully go through and kind of clean up some of these as well, but now here we actually have cork, so I was kind of surprised that the doors weren't opening together. This should be doing. So I have a long list of things I need to check. There's particular recipes that have stopped working. Particular FoolCraft 3 recipes for making things easier, making things harder. Items that have been removed, and some of those aren't present, which is quite concerning. But it's one of the things that I am starting to look into, is how mod packs are put together, using Craft Weaker, using things like custom NPCs. You have relatively cosmetic items that can be then brought into the storytelling of the world. I'm absolutely rubbish at doing stairs, but ultimately it comes down to the more you do them, the better you get at them. I kind of figured out fairly quickly that these little L shapes tend to be quite useful for how they were going up and down, so kind of kept replicating that whenever I could. I've been watching a couple of Pearl's videos, particularly of her Evo build, which is a giant dome, vaulted, giant swooping staircases. Majestic, beautiful, all the things that I want to be able to build. And then bringing it down to the ground floor, and thankfully kind of somewhat comes out to the middle area where the players can then kind of walk up to get to the upper levels. So this is where I started looking at the structural support of this. I still need to do a little bit of work just to kind of show that it is grounded and could possibly actually exist. So for this particular S-shaped staircase, that it can be connected all the way around, be connected to the walls, and actually fairly firm and secure. Ended up using back-to-back upside down staircases, representing the struts for the stairs themselves with more fences. And then just making sure that everything is doing well and connected. I decided to bring this last one up quite significantly further before changing my mind. I was going to bring it up to almost entrance level. Ended up using a lot of the A2 torches to light up the area, start providing a little bit of light. I can see looking quite nice with wires potentially, or with a crane coming down, especially for, at this stage was thinking about a quartermaster type character who could be doing some importing of goods. Kind of figuring out little locations and what possibly these shops could be. So, now that I've got most of the locations sorted out, what I ended up doing is starting to create some of the other NPCs. So obviously I've created the guide, who has a little bit of a quest and items to give, and I ended up giving Susie, the quartermaster, as a trader. Things you can do is change the height and dimensions of the individual pieces, get them to retreat, not interact with doors, and how they're going to interact with the rest of the world. This particular one we set up as a trader with interaction lines, so that when you speak to her, that she says a couple of lines and allows you to trade. The particular setting for that is global, and is just the first one, which allows you to just have phrases that she's going to say as you're wandering around, rather than the phrases that she says specifically when you interact with her, which I also did set up. The humans we have to the north, we've associated with the element of water, and the swamp to the north is where we're expecting them to be located. One of the things that we had about Waffleton is having several different interesting biomes around it. And one of the things that one of the players picked up on was kind of making it into, I think it's Louisiana, and having the kind of old, beautiful American houses for being in a swamp. Thus some of the way I've been getting her to speak. Quartermaster gives the 3 items that the guide provides, which is a free warp stone, an iron pickaxe, and a crate. Unfortunately, I picked up the wrong kind of crate, I think, because I was intending for them to have a crate that you could break and keep the contents with. Similar to the Hermitrons we had in FoolCraft 2, Season 2. And we kind of put it in as a diamond. Again, part of the lore of Waffleton itself being that the residents are friendly to each other and they actually want to help each other out. And the farmer will probably literally give away food. Especially if you've helped out in the fields, you've got a piece of wheat already, he'll give you a stack of wheat for the wheat that you have. Again, one of the cool things that you can get from the custom NPCs mod, it comes with another mod that has just interesting items in it. So interesting staves, little objects, such as leaflets that I end up giving her, letters, you see at the top there particles as if it would be for magical effects. Obviously on this particular screen you can do things like setting the drop rate. If you kill this particular character, whether you lose reputation or if she drops experience, drops a particular item, 1 in 10 or what have you. Garinder, the guide, we've set up as a little bit of a mage. He's got a couple of options on him. He's a dialogue person. I need to set him up so that he has a dialogue that will then present with items at the end. At the moment I've got it set up as a quest that will automatically complete when you speak to him again. The signs, within 10 seconds you can place an item inside of it, and one of the things we're quite keen about was having signs and things that looked quite natural to what we're after. This mod also comes in with varied commodities. I don't think the actual mod itself can be edited from external, but ended up, I believe we can actually set that up through Mind Tweaker to set up those recipes, because it looks like it isn't possible through the GUI that would usually be available on 1.11. final details, making sure that the walkways are actually supported. So tweaking this one just a little bit to join the walkways together so that they're actually a little bit more cohesive, and joining it up to the wall again so that a good firm platform that the villagers can walk on. Eventually I'm hoping to have custom NPCs, sufficient NPCs that we can actually get them to walk around the town, walking up and down the ladders, especially if there's some form of guard type person, we can get them to set them up so that they have swords. You can tell through the configuration, not through the items that they're actually wearing, how much armor they're wearing, how much damage they do when they attack, and actually how far away that they can attack from. Here, trying to connect things up to the wall from the top edge, not being particularly satisfied with this, but we may figure this out later on when walkways are involved. Just have to see how that goes in the meantime. And again, kind of remembering that I should really be using full planks rather than slabs all over the place. Makes life a little bit easier if you're actually using the correct thing. Again, at the moment the NPC quarters are very sparsely furnished. In most cases, just a floor, a bed, some lights. Last thing we want is things spawning within Waffleton. And sometimes like a carpentry bench or a crafting table, depending on which particular character it is that is expected to be in residence. In most cases I've taken a lot of the simple to access resources away, just replacing it with normal stone or with more wood. Realizing that I should have used the same wood as the floorings, of course. I'm kind of getting used to the placing blocks very fast using left and right click almost in combination. Waffleton green. Perhaps it'll be a particular thing that they use. Deciding to remove the workbenches because they're, as I said, they haven't been set up, they don't work quite the same way as traditional workbenches. There's no way for us to alter the recipes of those just yet. I've been onto the Discord for custom NPCs. Haven't spoken with a couple of the more senior power users of the community. They kind of confirmed that indeed, parts of it we can blame the implementation of Forge doesn't quite allow for it at the moment. It's totally fine. I'm investigating into Mine Tweaker, which I suspect won't be able to do it necessarily, but we'll see. I'm kind of expecting some of the players to also move into these rooms. One of the first things that happened is because of the location of the warpstone downstairs, some of the players ended up putting their chests downstairs because they couldn't bring them with them, filling them up, and then going out into the world to locate where they were going to set up their bases. Starting to kind of share resources even from the beginning. In this particular room, set up another seed for story. Setting up a ambassador. Human ambassador, just kind of giving them tips on the kind of things to think about with the NPCs. How would we arrange these things? How would the NPCs react? How would they organize and get the resources that they would have? Ideally for the ambassadors, having an entranceway to the, as such, rediscovered races would make it a lot easier to then find an ambassador to actually be in Waffleton. So it is an incentive for the players to go to the roughly allocated areas, north, south, west, east, and then create an entrance, create a couple of buildings, start with something, and then start building those NPCs that live, breathe, operate within the story of Waffleton. So again, seeding here, having a nice house, having a better security, having a more official purpose, asking what other NPCs, the idea that there is more going on, that there are tensions, that the guide has a secret little name, that he's gone off and helped the elves to set up Waffleton a little bit. I have a feeling that I'll be creating one of the next NPCs for kind of the security of the place, where the dwarf and the elves have come together. So this particular NPC is just carrying a piece of paper, has a couple of world lines, doesn't really have anything that can be done when you interact with them. Again, just kind of keeps out of combat, but more of a seed to take it from being a mining town, lift it up into the light, and it may actually start looking at the idea of religious overtones, of the four elements, of having the light, the dark, the lag. From a Suzuma recent videos on his particular servers, he's got the lag being the dark lag being the entity of pain and suffering. Here we've got a dwarf, again using the stats pain to change the ratio of the parts to make him look more dwarven, seeding with phrases that can inspire the players to talk to him, to think about things like, actually it could be a forge, actually it could be earthen magic. The southern crag biome is as such where the dwarves are, so hey, maybe if someone actually went there, created some stuff, created some light, maybe there'd be peace. And then just throwing in a little bit of social tensions. I think this is cannot relate so much. And again, I can't imagine there being many ambassadors until you have got a farm, a smithy, a woodcutter, a baker, and then starting to get things like just sorcerers and ambassadors. Seeding in terms of light, seeing if that's something that we can work with. One of the races that I've thought about having with the gin is also having a 1 block tall gin sprite-like character that can operate as a town bank, so that any particular location where you can buy things, that you can actually access the town bank banking items. One of the other things that Gran ended up doing was just creating a little bit of a green space. Little nook where a bit of water, a bit of greenery, some vines, some grass, things like that have started to take root. Again, that kind of idea of organic matter and the wind blowing it into the corners, finding it going kind of way into places and giving things a bit of verticality. Obviously, with the staircases moving through, things have quite of a linear feel, but we can start giving it slightly better verticality, dimension, by pushing things back like this, pushing things forward, using water. It gives it a bit of a sound effects and bits and pieces that come with it as well. So again, using double block depths for the grass to show that there is a lot more grass going on. And then again, looking for can we have a bit of water? And tying this together with the build at the top for the meteorite. Having the idea of that there's a spring just on the edge of the meteorite, possibly something that something that was broken open and now flows down both sides. And so just making sure that things line up correctly. Obviously the water would have worn away at the mountainside quite a bit. Drilling a hole into the mountain. And then pushing it, the source of the spring, back into the mountain where it can't easily be found, and allowing it to flow fairly naturally out of the mountain. And learning a little bit more about the creative shortcuts and how that works, because I kept losing my water bucket. So on this side, ended up allowing the water to flow and tracing it down into the bottom. It was kind of half an idea I was having, is to have the winds half fill the crater at the bottom and then having some form of water flowing down and around to make a bit of a pool. Again, kind of giving some more reinforcement to the fact that this water has carved over time through the grass, forming a river, churning through the corners it does, pushing things out, pushing things around, making little pools. And then just helping it fill the bottom area all the way around. A couple of spots there that I've missed with the grass as well. Just giving it a nice flat, still water that's potentially been there for quite some time. So, one of the things that would probably occur over time is the growth of lily pads and other little bits and pieces in the stream. If we find some fish, I'll probably pop some fish into there as well. Now, as I understand, lily pads are somewhat controlled, similar to the flower forest. There's specific locations in the world will always spawn a flower on top of a lily pad. It's just something that our players didn't know. But it has frustrated them on no end, because they didn't realise that it was the purlin noise that kind of dictates how it comes through. Just putting the last little finishing touches. Now that I put the water in, kind of a bit amused that someone might actually do some fishing here. One of the other things that we added in was DecoCraft, which is quite a fun building block mod. Allows us to kind of have pre-made things come into the world. So I've already seen someone sit in the chair and kind of enjoy the view, so I feel quite happy that what's only taken a couple of moments has actually turned into something that they've enjoyed as well. Welcome to Waffleton, centre of a feud between races where the rift has brought people together unbeknownst, where the warp is strong with everybody. Elves, dwarves, humans and jinn brought together.
Ooh, when did I get into medium?
Offline.
Oh, I must have been leftover. Ooh, what?
Okay, so... Oh dear.
I am now live.
Ooh, what?
Okay, so...
Ooh.
You're live. Oh dear.
Live on Twitch.
Hello, peoples that aren't watching just yet.
I'm gonna be famous.
Oh, good. This course is good because it's clay. Now, where's my clay?
I'm just hoping I don't accidentally eat my own poo again.
Oh my god.
Amen.
That is kind of an embarrassing thing for you to do. Okay, let's bake a little clay. Let's get baked.
Let's get baked.
Mm-hmm.
Probably don't want to do that live on Twitch either.
Right, so I'm gonna do a bonsai thing.
Yes, bonsais are quite cool.
Yeah, I think that's
Hopper.
good.
Hopper.
I've got some fruit trees planted up in my area now.
Hopper bonsais.
We did have a shovel. Shovel.
Oh, there are my buckets.
Did you say they were your baguettes?
I have been making baguettes. Because the wheat, you can make baguettes from the dough. You don't make bread, which is
Yeah.
really annoying. But if you actually grind the wheat into flour, you can make the flour directly into bread.
Okay.
You don't make it into dough. Dough will make baguettes. Different.
I'm not complaining. Like baguettes are 3-3 for
Yeah,
thing.
baguettes are nice and they
As
taste better
opposed
with brie.
to
Brie.
bread.
Bread, which I think is 2-3.
Oh, actually, it's more like 1.5, 3.5.
Yeah, it's because you still pick up bread when you're opening chests in mines and stuff like that. You pick it up quite a lot.
Mm. Yeah,
I
3-3.
have
Okay, sleeping.
one piece of super premium.
One
Essence.
piece of supremium.
Essence.
Essence.
Yeah, you're gonna be sometime, sweetie. I'm just gonna put down that this thing is not gonna work. Okay, bonsai. Okay, bonsai is bricks and dirt. Gosh,
Actual proper use for bricks.
actual proper use for dirt. Okay, bonsai.
Actually, I
And
think
bonsai with
Akashic
copper.
Tome is in this. We put in this pack.
A what?
Akashic Tome,
What's
which
the
is
Akashic?
where you combine different like mod manuals.
Oh, okay.
I think the recipe for that is like a piece of dirt
A piece of dirt.
on its own. Just a piece of dirt, I think.
Oh gosh, I have iron and I cannot. There we go. Man, I need to organize my stuff. Okay, making a hopper. One hopper. The bonsai thing.
You know what else I need?
What else do you need?
I've got some obsidian. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So it's 3 across and 2 up. Oh, I'm thinking picking up blaze spawners and such.
Oh, yep. I was going to pick up a few of those. Not the blaze ones, but I was going to go into the dungeons. I found an half-inch couple. Because I haven't even started thinking about a mob farm or anything yet. I've just been kind of pootling.
That's less sort of necessary when you're not aiming to try and get loot bags.
No. Well, the mob farm is just good for the basics, and you can get redstone and things from it.
Okay, it's not.
So if I was to put, so in the bonsai thing, you put a sapling in it, right? And it just.
And then you watch it grow.
How do I put the sapling in?
Just on top.
Plant it.
Oh, can it only be certain types of sapling?
I just did oak and it worked fine.
Yeah.
Ice of plenty also work.
I would say probably not one of the ones that you need 4 saplings to make the tree grow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's more. I was going to try the cherry one because I was wondering if I would get cherries from it.
Oh,
Oh, I've got a
possibly. You
willow
get
tree.
apples
I
from
got
that.
a mini willow tree, and it's adorable.
Got the... Which one is this? Oh, shit.
It's growing. I've got. It's so cute. My little tree is growing. 75%.
When I actually have the proper base upstairs sorted, I'm going to have like little, just the standard bonsais, not the And just have lots of little trees, and just like, oh, little trees.
So what happens with the hopper then? So now I've got it in a hopper. What now what?
So if you've got a hopping bonsai tree, and you put it...
Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to stick a chest underneath this thing. Okay, let's do that. I need a chest. I'm very disappointed my chest didn't come out in numbered wood. That would be kind of cool. That'd be purpley. Oh, my tree just disappeared. Oh, I got a stick. That's...
It is slower, and you get less things.
It drops, yeah, it drops loads of random stuff that the tree would drop.
Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of randomly a stick. What's wrong with the stick?
But it's one of those
No
things.
stick.
Leave it. Come back in half an hour, and you'll have some cool things.
Well, that's what I was trying to... I was thinking maybe if the cherry tree works, then I could get cherries from it, but the cherry tree doesn't. So pokey is sad.
Certainly, apples work.
Yeah, you definitely get apples, you get leaves, and you do get the wood, because I've started getting stacks of straight oak wood as well.
Maybe I tried the wrong cherry tree.
Give it time.
No, I'm just...
This is us. We're impatient people.
You're talking to the person that's normally so impatient that I end up built... Ooh, monument. End up...
Did you just do a puka?
Maybe. And red cardinals around it too. Do you want red cardinals for anything?
They're just pretty. I'm gonna have some in my area. Okay,
No,
got
just-
completely distracted by bonsai trees. Was actually supposed to be making shovels.
That's pretty off topic, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. What did I do with all my sticks?
Faint amaranth. That was that thing that you were telling me about before.
Oh yes, if you break
What
that,
about
you'll get faint amaranth. Is the one that will give you
Oh,
glowstone?
glowstone dust.
Okay, that's good. Okay, clearing an area.
Philosopher's Stone, so good, so expensive, but so good.
Hmm.
Like
Once you've got it, you just keep using it.
a little bit. Just it's like the gold, emerald, and diamond recipes. Bouncing backwards and forwards is just now. Just had like I've got a little. I had 12 pieces of gold and 1 diamond, so it was like okay, some of this plus that equals an emerald, and then
Okay.
flick, emerald done. Because I'm trying to
Oh, okay,
make
yep, I've got some willow wood and some willow leaves. I see it. I see it.
because I want to make a combine harvest. I just heard a pig grunt. Oh, hello.
It has more pigs.
You seem to have things in your head. Yoink. Oh, hello. You dropped a bit of gold. Oh, nice.
I heard someone meowing. Is that Owl?
Is that our cat kind of wanting to come in and pester us?
I think that's clouds.
No,
Hello!
it's a cloud that's worth meowing at the door. Hello.
So hello from you too.
Jeannie says hello. Jean. She says hi.
Hi. Hi. What are you doing?
Hello, sweetie.
Deadpool is cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you
Yes.
enjoyed it?
I think the difficulty is when you first watch the first one, you don't know what to expect. Whereas this one you do. The new one I found was funnier more often than the first one, but the first one just reduced me to tears. Like everybody fears the T-Rex. Your poor wife.
I think it was a movie. Kind of
Yeah.
like what was and he admitted lazy writing.
Yeah. It was a true family movie. Yeah.
Yeah. They have switches. Well. Shows. New World sells the bin tags, so I have to, but they no longer sell the rubbish. Apparently, get rid of them.
What?
So I think the bin tags is actually. Yeah, that's what I said. That's why we need to get the bin emptied. Because if we don't get a bin tag, we can't get that bin emptied, and they're not accepting the bags. Okay.
How much did the bin tag cost? So they must tear that off when they empty the bin.
Yeah.
They were about $2 each. Something like that. So yeah. Well, one's full already, and the one's recycling, right? So that's separate.
But the other one of our lodgers filled up before they were actually emptying them.
Yeah.
Which is real helpful. So that bin's been full.
So we'll be able to empty that one. But if we can't get... Yeah. We need bags. We need to find somewhere that does bags.
Well, they're stopping collecting them from the 6th of June.
Awesome.
This is what I was saying. They're stopping the bins, the bags from the 6th of June. If you want to stand.
The problem is if you jam it up that they can't get it out, then you get told to figure it out yourself. What, inside there? No, well, there might be recycling stuff in there, but that's because they kept putting their recycling in plastic bags. No.
Well, at least
We will.
yeah, so we can work that out, and they should collect it. Our last bit of rubbish should be collected, I hope. I'm hoping they collect the last bag that we have. It's Thursday.
Well, the other one.
Sorry about this, Jane.
Feels good.
Anyone who's listening to the
Thrilling.
Twitch is going to be like, "Oh my
Yeah,
god, what are
it's
they
like
talking
really
about?"
General handmaidens.
We used to be able to like do one bag a fortnight or one bag a week. We don't generate a huge amount because I'm not home, so we don't generally eat.
It should be enough that if it goes up on a regular basis, one bin should be enough. We just need
Yeah.
to get it emptied.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody?
We're gonna be
watching the stream?
famous. Talking about rubbish online.
Do we have anybody watching?
No.
That's
Yeah, I don't think
probably
so.
a good thing.
Mhm.
What?
I bought a fruit bowl.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I speak.
Ooh, what is that? That is a big ass cow.
Oh, yep. They got Highland cows in this.
Oh yeah, you coming home with me?
Look at that cow. Ooh.
All the mini moves I keep coming across with a costume cow.
That's because it's kind of it, and there's water. The only cow with mini moves now are water.
There's just mini moves, but then they don't have all of the.
Yeah, so the only ones that there are now are water, which I had 2 of, so I could breed them, and then they literally vanished.
Oh, is there Hermitrons in this? I haven't seen one.
No, there's
No.
no Hermitrons in this one.
Hermitrons haven't hit 1.12 yet.
Which is a shame, because they were made very good boxes, and also helped with the obsessive collectible thing going on that happens with Minecraft.
Mm.
Collect all the
I
things.
want one of you because I like the noise. Makes it sound like a wood pigeon.
So yeah, you would say it was an old dictionary thing to fix the chickens? Do you think
Well, that's what
Yeah.
you use to say recognize this as this.
Okay. So it sounds simple, probably not.
It's going to be the next thing that I'm going to be looking at and learning is the how and changing of recipes.
Well, it's quite exciting that you're learning how to make mod packs.
Yeah.
I have a pigeon. Yeah, I got a pigeon.
You've got a pigeon. You're really excited about your pigeon.
Wouldn't you be excited about having a pigeon? Pigeons are cool, yeah? They're like bow ties.
They're like, what?
Bow ties. Bow ties are cool.
That's cool.
I'm not really getting you because you're talking too loud. So I think it's you're blocking out from my mic.
You're not talking too loud. That's outrageous.
I got a brand new pair of roller skates.
The things. I have something going on. I have a culinary generator feeding into a harvester, harvesting things. So I might at some stage where I can actually.
I don't have anything yet at the moment. I've just
But I've gone to the Nether as well. But then again, you guys were like leagues ahead of us in different ways. So
I've explored a bit.
We're leagues ahead of you in the amount of
Faffing we've
bollocks that
done.
we have waffled.
yes.
We have done a particularly large amount of waffling. No, I will get there. I just need to kind of work out. I'm kind of clearing some ground at the moment so I can start building my base. And I was clearing out some stuff down underneath me. But, yeah.
Where am I going? I really don't know.
You've been massaging that down like that? Or did it
Well,
float?
it
Did
was-
you find it like that?
It was pretty big before I started.
Is that a full- oh, that's
Like, as
That's
you
fine.
climb up it, you'll find there's a natural spring sticking out the side of the mountain. But then it's also got bigger as I add more waterfalls from the garden patches.
Ah, yeah. See. Nice. I take it there is a nicer way up there as well, other than
So my Booplestone's up there, so I just teleport up there.
So is it? Can I? Is that a?
Is that a crimson at the top? Yeah, she just boopled her way over.
Hey!
Hello.
I was saying hi earlier, but I realized now that I didn't have the
You
mic
haven't
on.
pushed the button.
Okay.
I'm not used to having to push.
So yeah, sadly it isn't up. It is literally sort of swimming uphill.
That's fine.
And then when you get towards the top, right, I might just.
Yeah, we just group up the top and then we'll show you where you need to get to. But basically, you're going up to the top and left of the platform.
Yeah, under the
able to
platform
come
and
up?
off to the left.
And then once you're up, and I'm pretty sure Darkwing will be at the spot where you need to get to. You can get up to the stone and you will never have to do it again.
Yes.
Wow.
Ow.
And this is why I'm excited that the quartermaster is back, because I was going to set up a Boopplestone down in my basement as well.
Yes. Good move. So the quartermaster is back. She is selling the stuff that
Usual.
Darren is. As I've mentioned to the others before, Crimson, once we get more farms and bits and pieces, then the people...
Do we have a Crimson in a chitty chat? Hey,
We have
Hey!
hey!
So once we actually have like
Ow.
a farm and a farmhouse, we'll have someone selling farm ingredients. Probably for like cheap, if not free.
So,
And that's
when
the
you say
general-
farm ingredients, what do you mean?
So at the moment,
be
there
very
is
specific.
there is a wheat farm there, for for instance, I've just added to it.
Wheat.
And he will probably swap 1 wheat, which you can pick up for a stack of wheat for free. So whatever the farm has been supplied to do, he will probably do it. In fact, I'm probably like at some stage he will probably have a chest full of seeds that people can like.
Where the hell did I put my iron again?
Yeah,
I keep
straight
losing
up
bloody
this way.
iron.
Yeah, because if you look on the map where I'm at, I have
Yep, I did see.
stuff.
But I figured that if someone was wanting to start a farm, then having a starter is something useful to have. But it's building Waffleton rather than building our individual bases.
Cobblestone in here.
Yeah, it's that combined area, so it's got to be kind of a working area, I suppose.
Roleplay area, and once the roleplay area has been upgraded,
No, but it's got to look like a working area.
So I haven't done a huge amount up here other than gardening.
Oh.
oh, fair enough. It is bigger than my base as such.
Can I grab some rutabaga and some oats and just whatever I'm missing?
I'm not here for
You're
anything.
missing oats?
I've already.
Totally can, and you can bring me back stuff that I'm missing. I don't think I've got any peas at the moment because somebody ran off with my pea.
And you just dropped your pea, and you were like, "No, I'm not going to pea right now."
I didn't need a pea right then. Now I need a pea.
I like the fact you've got seeds all over the place as well.
Shit! Apparently, if I hit my cow with shears, it disappears. So apparently, the cactus cow, if you hit it with shears, just disappears. Both of them did.
That's
Which I'm
pretty
not
brutal.
entirely sure how that happened.
So what you're saying is you accidentally genocided cow kind in your
Well, they
area.
didn't
Any
even
cactuses
take
from
any
it?
damage. I think so.
I think you just
I'm
shared
not
the
sure.
cactuses off the cactus cows. Unfortunately, they were made from cactus, and so you just shared them out of existence.
But if I shear the sheep is fine.
Yes.
Jean, if you stand still a sec, can I just see if you have... Oh, you do?
Did you just...
What did you do, Tim?
I didn't mean to. I just fell down a hole.
What did you do? Can you stand still a
Okay,
second?
I'm standing over here where there's a lot of like cool things. Yes, there on
Hey,
my
can you
back.
just stand on this really
On my
tall
back
leg?
and on your back. If you go into F5 mode,
Because I noticed that I have a medal on mine. I think you have a strap or something. Do I?
a what?
You have that little medal because you're wearing your bronze medal, right?
Yeah, she's wearing her medal. What was it? The thing on my back or the something else?
Yeah, you have like a little.
I was
strap
wondering
right
if the
on that.
strap was like a medal or something.
Oh, no, the strap's actually part of the.
It's the cushion. It's the
It's
skin.
the actual skin. My skin has a strap on. God.
Sorry, I just need you to
And this
appreciate
is one of the things that we're just going to kind of roll with and just sort of brush over that.
Okay.
That's not a mine.
My skin. My character is wearing and a sash, both of which are green.
Cool.
There we go. That make more sense? Excellent.
Great. I have ochre now. I'm nicking your ochre because I want to make jambalaya. I don't even know if that's in this mod somewhere, but I'm hoping it is.
And also, don't forget, this includes like dark puka.
Dark
That's what happens if you feed each of us a carrot.
Put together, you get dark pukas. Oh my god. So Darkling, if you go into your, if
Ooh,
you
I'm
can,
done whole. Well, I'm gonna die.
You're not gonna die.
Wait,
Well, I
does that mean
really
if I
did.
ship Darkling and Puka, it's Dark Poo?
secretly 7.
Can we not? Can we not? It's pooking.
It's okay.
I will
Puking and
accept
Puka.
that. But appreciate.
You can hide. Don't forget, you've got cosmetic. Hide what armor you're actually wearing.
Ah.
So
was
at the
gonna
moment,
say-
I actually have obsidian armor on, but you can't see it. Actually, let's go.
You see, the joy of this is I can basically use your place like a water slide and just teleport up to the top, jump off the edge, to slide down and do it again.
It is actually quite satisfying. I'm not gonna lie.
What are you doing? Just hurtling?
Satisfying wasn't the word that I had for my heart jumping
Are
up
we
into
ready?
my throat.
Are we ready? Whee!
Sploosh.
That is-
This is awesome. And then you just teleport up and do it again.
oh,
Wow. I have.
That feels much better. It's transmitting my beautiful voice.
Whee! Oh!
I hear a voice from the boy.
Oh no, I have so many plants that I'm going to have to extend my farm. Whatever shall I do?
Minecraft problems.
First world Minecraft problems.
Okay, I'm going this way because I've not been this way before. I was supposed to be doing something. I'm heading off in another direction.
If you're going to...
Any dates, I would love some.
Okay, if I find dates, I'll give you some. I'll give you a date.
Sweet.
What do you like to do on this date?
Movies is generally a good plan with me.
Netflix
Okay.
and chill.
As
Oh,
long as
Are
I'm
you a
not breaking
Deadpool?
any...
Full.
Deadpool, yeah. Deadpool would
Yeah.
totally do it. I haven't
Okay.
seen it yet. Movies, I
Okay.
haven't seen it great. As long as I'm not
So we
breaking
can do
any
that.
more hearts.
What? Breaking any more hearts?
Oh, were you
Oh.
not on the chat last night?
No, I didn't
She
hear
was
it.
breaking heart.
Oh, what was
Apparently I
it?
broke
Bob,
someone's heart.
Bob
and
and
Cyclic, Nathan, I think, is his
Nathan was
IRL
online.
name. I can't remember what his handle is. They apparently got a party tonight.
Ah.
Nathan was online, and
Invited, how rude.
and he was heartbroken that she didn't
He
know
was
who he
totally devastated. No, he really didn't care.
That,
No,
that's harsh.
I think
man.
he
didn't
cared.
remember
I
who
don't
he
think he really
was.
cared.
You're
I
always supposed to
couldn't-
remember people's names.
It's misremembering people's names, but also I hadn't seen him in... Sorry, I hadn't heard his voice in ages.
Yep.
So, not my
It took
fault.
me a moment when he was like, "Oh, we're gonna do. Am I being booted or am I like fine?"
I think we're just getting some
Okay, there we go.
good lag.
Oh, I had some lag. There we go.
Good bit of lag going on there.
Yeah, good night, a little bit of lag. Just can't play for too long without lag or being booted, you know.
Right, what would I do? No,
That
no,
would be like making it easy for us.
right, the plan was to
Minecraft
go out
easy mode.
exploring.
Oh god, okay. No, I'm just gonna teleport back then.
So, like, what do you want? Because I have canola seeds, and coffee seeds, and rice seeds, and flax seeds, and bamboo shoots, and wheat, and rhubarb, and scallion, and kiwi, and cotton, and grape,
Kiwi!
and ginger.
Don't
and
cut up the
cantaloupe.
kiwi!
Isn't it dinosaurs? Blueberry, okra, bell pepper,
Did you
carrot.
say dinosaurs? I heard dinosaurs.
Daddy!
I'm positive.
Daddy,
I heard
Joey, it's a
dinosaurs.
dinosaur! What?
Well,
you
that
actually
killed the
watched
conversation.
that
I have a.
You have a
But yeah, like
Yeah,
last time,
deciding what to do with all of the nets that I'm putting animals in.
She doesn't mind.
Yeah. I want a menagerie. And then we can
A
Menagerie.
menage.
Menagerie.
A menage. She was a
menage,
animal.
well actually in the sense that apparently we get a little like quest thing every time we feed them, so yes.
You feed them, you get a little quest thing.
You feed your animals?
Yeah. Well,
There's a
like
quest
the
line for it.
Orpington one that I had. Yeah. Oops. Ooh, it's mature oats.
as opposed to the mature notes.
Means they're over 60.
Yeah.
Alright.
And she doesn't mind them.
She doesn't mind it. Mum and Dad. I met a girl, and she's got great teeth, and she's married. She's trying.
What?
Are you telling me you haven't heard
Oh
the
my
song?
Apparently,
It's a perfectly innocent song. It's not about anything rude.
Yes, you need to stop Minecrafting. It is more important than Minecrafting. You need to go and watch it.
Yeah, just YouTube. She doesn't mind the ooh.
Yeah. Cosmo Jarvis, she doesn't mind.
Okay, that's, you know, sometimes lag is cooler than other times. When you've just leapt off down a massive waterfall and you keep getting teleported to the top to do it again and again and again.
That's pretty cool, actually.
It's your own version of hell.
Or, as Rose would put it, wee!
Rose is in Paul's Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh darn it! I'm trying to grow my gardens, and they're just. You have to be near them for them to grow, and I'm just not that patient, apparently.
Seriously.
Seriously, what?
Oh, I just misspelled something. Nothing that anyone has noticed yet, so that's okay.
Is it in a name?
No.
Also, I found so all of the towns
Just
waystone in them.
didn't I tell you?
What?
I told you spelled something wrong last time. For Garender, it was something.
What's
you
the
spelled-
song
in
called
the-
again?
First, that one?
I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit of lag from Discord at the moment, it seems.
I was saying, I pointed out you'd misspelled something.
No, this is something from Susie. Something that I've retyped just today.
What is the song that I need to hear?
She doesn't mind the ooh. Or she doesn't mind.
Found like
There we
That's
go.
doesn't mind. Chances.
Might not be the name of the song. She doesn't mind.
Doesn't mind the...
Mind.
Sean Paul?
Cosmo Jarvis.
Apparently the song is She Doesn't Mind. Is it Cosmo Jarvis, the one that I'm looking for?
Yep.
Or
Can you
Sean
not hear
Paul?
me?
I can't
Can
hear
you guys
it.
not hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you. As I
I
said,
can
I'm
hear you.
Okay. Because that.
Cosmo Jarvis.
Cosmo?
Yes.
Yes. Cosmo Jarvis.
Sorry, I'll just go and stick my mic on mute for a bit.
No worries. Oh man, am I kicking out? Oh, we'll see.
Okay.
Well, I'm not even lagging. Oh, maybe. No, there we go. I'm good.
Got great teeth and she's marrying me and she's a great cook. She's about to finish writing her 5th book.
Is someone
Mum
exploring?
and Dad, she paints as well. She wrote her own
Not a lot.
theory
I
on
think it might be not,
relativity.
because
It's
I'm
better than
actually
Einstein's.
requirements. Somewhere where I have been before.
She's all mine.
The same thing.
Mum and Dad, I love her more than I've ever loved anything. And you should hear her sing. She's got a record deal. And if she leaves me, I won't heal. Mum and Dad, she found a way of putting an end to global warming during our breakfast just this morning. She's getting a Nobel Prize. She's the best damn woman alive. And she doesn't mind the ooh. She doesn't
The one
mind
advantage of us not all flying like
She
crazy
doesn't mind the
is that we don't smash the server when we all fly in the direction.
She says she doesn't mind the ooh.
Found a big hill.
She
It's a
doesn't
big hill.
She doesn't mind the ooh. She doesn't mind
Pretty close to you. That 5 minutes. I don't think I would be there.
You just seem to be looking at it with it.
I'm sitting on it. I'm sitting on the chicken. And then I'm going to be pulling a stone.
Just be glad that the first thing she did was sit on your chicken.
What did I do at your base?
Immediately ran towards the nearest chest, opened it to see if there was anything you wanted.
I was like, I'm gonna steal your stuff. Is that Skystone?
Don't get me wrong, that's pretty much exactly what Crimson did, is she turned boop and then went, ooh, you've got pea,
shiny chest.
pea.
Can I have one of everything I don't have?
I like the fact that it's kind of
That
like,
was the
we know
second
we know we're not gonna steal anything. This is a trusting server. We don't steal things. We borrow.
Anything, we borrow and return it with excess. Or at least that's what I do.
Yes.
Okay, it's a 95.
I will take something that is useful and add more waffle. Yep.
You looking in my chest too?
I was looking at
Awfully rude.
the Orpington Rooster.
Non-consenting.
Oh, are these? Oh, these are chests.
Yeah.
Small storage.
These I actually know to be storage crates.
Crates. Yeah, they're the ones that you can steal, but you can't steal the contents of. And I can hear a little over the birds. I can hear a zombie,
baby
zombie somewhere. I think that I've got my F4 turned on. I can see you've got a lot of lighting to do with your place.
A what?
Lighting?
Oh, I don't actually seem to get monsters in here, weirdly enough.
If you're in the middle, you won't. But
You mean like outside, or?
No, like there are 7s here, and then everything in this corner will spawn.
This is just randomly a pick appeared.
Sorry, I'm picking up. I needed to find a net, and so now there's a piglet. Assuming I haven't gone and lost. Oh yeah, I've got. I think is enough to make some chicken essence.
Oh, cool.
And then from chicken essence, we can make vanilla eggs.
Yes.
It's complicated, and you need to go down that.
Or you just wait a few days.
But it's the challenge, right? It's no different than any other thing. Like,
I never figured out how to do
Find a
that
way
essence
around it.
thing last time, so.
Oh yeah, I don't mean like you don't have to, but I mean.
On a side note, I
shouldn't,
need a better
but
storage thing because this is
think of
annoying.
other things you could do for the-
Harvest craft grow! Is that too close? Is that what my problem is?